Hello and welcome to an all-new episode of Anime Brain Freeze. We are your cyberpunk hosts.
I am John.
And I'm CC. And when there's just too much cool anime to watch, we've got you covered. On today's episode, we have another batch of exciting little shows for you. First, John will review Talentless Nana, the story about a young student trying to eradicate the enemies of humanity. And after that, we will join a Neon City suicide squad in Akudama Drive. But before all of that, there was a little award show last weekend that we want to give our 2 cents on. So grab your popcorn, grab your tux and gown, but definitely don't pause the pod. We'll be right back. Yeah, last weekend we had the annual Crunchyroll Anime Awards. We did an episode, or at least a partial episode, on the 2020 Anime Awards. And that was kind of fun, so we thought we'd do it again, or make this just an annual thing as well. Maybe not as detailed as last time. I don't know if we will go into each category in detail this time around, or detail every show that was on the actual shortlist, whatever. We'll see what happens, but we thought we just want to talk about what was picked, what the shows were that got the win, and if we think that win is well-deserved or not, or if we had chosen a different show. So, alright, yeah, let's start from the bottom here, and I'm gonna hit it off with Best Fantasy. And the winner for that was ReZero, Starting Life in Another World, which I have not seen any of yet. John, have you?
No, I kind of thought about it, and I mean, I have some friends who swing both directions on their opinions of the show. So I just was like, this is a show that exists, I guess.
I plan to remedy not watching it after I'm done with Black Clover, which still a lot of episodes on that. But I'm making progress. I'm already on episode 40, considering that I started only like a couple of weeks ago. That's not bad. It's nice to watch an anime once in a while besides One Piece that I don't intend to review. So not having to make any notes or stuff like that makes it easier to consume it almost. All right. But I also, that's a reason, because I haven't watched ReZero yet, that's also the reason why I can't really speak on this choice being good or bad. People seem to like it a lot. Even though it's an isekai show.
I mean,
it seems to be one of the good ones, right? There are like very few good isekai shows out there. I would say Slime Time is one, and apparently ReZero seems to be one of those as well. So I intend to check it out eventually, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. And the third season is currently airing, so I guess there's still some time to get it. I don't know how far they are in terms of the light novel source material. I think it's based on the light novel, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I assume there's probably going to be another season or something, so I have ample time to catch up.
As far as I knew, ReZero is at least well-regarded, so good for it.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll see if that is also well-deserved once I check it out. However, I feel like Somali and the Forest Spirit should have been on this list. Do you agree, John?
Yes, absolutely.
That show got snubbed. Let's be real.
Yes. Oh, man. And I look at the rest of these shows here, and I'm like, is Dorohedoro really, like, fantasy?
It's kind of about sorcery, witchcraft, and all like, but it's also science fiction-y a bit. I don't know, it's a weird mishmash genre mixed thing, so I guess fantasy works, but it's also, like, on this, I would put, like, classic fantasy things, I guess, so Exodus of a Bookworm fits, Dragon Quest fits, Tower of God to an extent fits, Decadence already is a thing where, like,
that's a stretch.
That's a stretch. That is really much more science fiction than it is fantasy. Also, science fiction is not a category on this list because there are probably not enough science fiction shows in general. But yeah, ReZero fits. Dorohedoro, yeah, you're right. It's not necessarily. Especially, like, I would have given that spot to Somali. A lot of the other spots as well. Let's be honest, I would have given the win to that show. You know, like I said, it's maybe not fair because I haven't watched ReZero. Maybe that is the better show. But just in terms of actually having cool fantasy shit in there and actually telling a good story, Somali would have definitely taken it for me. I don't know about you.
Oh, no, I definitely agree. And it kind of baffles me that it's not on there. But, you know, you kind of have to play the hand you're dealt.
Yeah.
And if I had to choose one of these, and probably going to gripe about this again later several times, but it feels weird picking shows that are technically not finished as best when you don't have the full picture of what they are.
Same,
but if I had to pick one of these, I'd probably go with Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, that is probably the only show you have watched or are watching out of these, right?
Yes,
so,
actually.
I mean, right.
I mean, I don't plan on reviewing it when it's all done, but suffice to say, it's a really well produced and a lot of fun. I mean, I know I said it during the sneak peek when the show started. We never got the original anime adaptation, so this has, been a really, really fucking good next best thing. So it's really enjoyable and it's really good. And it's got, obviously it's got the video game tropes in there because it's Dragon Quest,
which is one of the fantasy things ever, like one of the biggest ones. So it should be on this list.
Final Fantasy what? But yeah, I would pick Dragon Quest out of these.
I can see why. Yeah, and I mean, if somebody was on this, it would have won, I guess, from the shows. The only show I've watched on this is Decadence, but again, this is more science fiction to me, and also, I don't know if I would have picked this. It's hard. It's like, this category is weird to me. There's like, I guess I haven't watched enough fantasy anime, or there are not really that many fantasy anime, or have been out that last year that I would actually consider as such. So, yeah, I don't know. Even Sword is also science fiction fantasy, but also that is not a good show, so that doesn't, even if that was fantasy, it doesn't deserve to be on this list. So,
It's so weird to me that Sword Art only has one entry on the whole list of nominees, but we'll get to that.
I don't even remember what it got a win for, so we'll see. But yeah, next category is Best Couple. And yeah, I'm giving that over to you, John. Tell us about it.
I mean, okay. So the winner is Nasa and Tsukasa from Tonikawa Over the Moon for You. And Tonikawa is, it's a cute little rom-com show where the main girl may or may not be a reincarnation or some incarnation of Kaguya, Princess of the Moon. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Push that detail aside. Just, Nasa and Tsukasa are a very cute couple. And, that is... their relationship is definitely the sole crux of the story. And I think that's a solid pick. I don't know if that's what I would go to first in my head. Looking at some of the other picks in this category, I mean, God, one of them is Chizuru and Kazuya from Rent a Girlfriend. I don't know how I feel about that because I guess it's a good pick insofar that they kind of help ground each other in reality, but they're not a couple, and they're not a good couple, I would say.
It's kind of for me the thing with in general I like Legoshi and Haru, who are also on this list, but they still need to figure their shit out. It's like they're not really a real couple yet. There is still so much baggage for each of them, and in the second season they're not really, I mean, they're still on the way there. They could end up together at the end of the show, we don't know, but there's also a lot of problems attached to that. It's there's some picks on here where it's like, yeah, there's the potential for them to be a really good, interesting couple, but not there yet.
Like, I haven't watched Kaguya-sama, but can we talk about the fact that Kaguya and Miyuki are constantly in a war with each other to get one to admit to the other they want to be in a relationship? That ain't no couple. They're not a couple yet. They're still fighting each other over it. But they want it. They both want it.
I mean, it's also about the dynamic, the character dynamic, I guess, and how if it's fun enough, if it's engaging enough, and that seems to be like the whole angle of Kaguya and Miyuki. You have fun with them actually taking jabs at each other and trying to outplay each other, and that's also why I think I would actually, from those, and I've only watched 2 shows on this list. As weird as it sounds, I wouldn't pick Legoshi and Haru. I would probably pick Kotoko and Kuro from Inspector. Just in terms of actual fun couple dynamic, because I thought they had a very interesting dynamic going on as being Kotoko being like the very forceful, very interested party, like or part of this couple, and Kuro being more like reluctant and like, I don't. But in certain parts, you understand, even though he's so so reluctant, you feel like he really cares about her or has learned to care about her. So. Even though I didn't end up liking that show, actually, those two are enjoyable when they are together on screen and bounce well off each other. So I would probably pick those two.
Yeah, I think I'm going to side with the winner on this one. I do like Nasa and Tsukasa together because, they're newlyweds. They're still trying to, get to know each other and how they're going to live together. And it's just a nice little story about them, too. So I think I'd pick that.
Okay. I have nothing to argue against. That's not really a category where I had a horse in the race. So
yeah.
But where I did have a horse in the race, I guess, is Best Score, which is the next category. And the winner is the soundtrack for Tower of God by Kevin Penkin. I haven't watched Tower of God, but so far Kevin Penkin has always delivered. Made in Abyss, even Shield Hero, which maybe aside from the animation was the only good thing about Shield Hero. So I'm sure this win is well deserved, even though I haven't listened to any tracks from Tower of God. But for me personally, listening to it right now in its second season, I really love the somber noir jazz soundtrack of Beastars. So that probably would have been my choice from that shortlist. What is your decision, or what do you lean towards?
I think Satoru Kosaki's music from Beastars is a great choice. But Elisa Okehazama with The God of High School was hitting that shit so hard. And she's hitting that shit hard again in Jujutsu Kaisen. Oh, yeah. So the legacy continues in earnest. But it is a tough choice. Fuck it, let's have our cake and eat it too. I'll pick Okehazama's work, and you can have Kosaki's work. Sure,
I'm fine with that. It's a split win. And I could still probably get, Beastars in its second season next year. But although, then it has to contend with Jujutsu Kaisen. Although, no, it would have had to contend with Jujutsu Kaisen this year. It's weird that Jujutsu Kaisen is not on this list. Maybe they had to decide between two soundtracks of Alisa Okehazama and then God of High School. Might be the case. I don't know if that's actually the stronger pick. Would have to listen to them side by side. I like both a lot, but I don't know. Maybe Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know which is the strongest standalone track. In terms of scenes, there are, Jujutsu Kaisen just has stronger scenes to work with in terms of soundtrack. So, I don't know. It's that would go into too much detail, but I would. I'm probably gonna listen to them next, back to back, and then decide. But yeah, for now, I would side with Beastars because I like that soundtrack a whole damn lot. John, what is the next category?
Next category is Best Comedy. The winner of which went to Kaguya-sama: Love is War? ? Mm-hmm. Got to get the right inflection on the title because I believe that's specifically the second season with that name.
Oh, really? They changed that?
Yes.
So is the first one "Love is War!" and the second question mark? Or
I believe so.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. that's very neat.
So, what else? So I haven't. Neither of us have watched Kaguya-sama, but I don't know how many clips you've seen of it. I've seen a few. It seems, like it's pretty silly and pretty deserving of this win. So, okay, sure. What else do we have? Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, which you watched beginning to end, and I watched 3 or 4 episodes about. I think Eizouken has a very dry sense of humor, which, I enjoyed that. I like that. I'm fine with that. And I think a lot of the humor in that show came from what's the character's name? I know she's on this list for Best Girl. Came from Kanamori wanting to monetize everything the girls were doing. And, that sort of straight punchline all throughout sort of got me every time.
It's also the other two girls just being these uncontrollable forces of creative energy, and, you're having to keep them in line. That's also where the comedy comes in. I thought the comedy was fine, but also not the most appealing thing about that series for me, so I don't know. I really, again, don't have a horse in this race.
I mean, that's why I say dry comedy. Kakushigoto, I don't know if I would classify it first as a comedy, man. It was more of like a family drama thing.
Maybe it's same way. It's in the same vein. It's a comedy as its predecessors. Sayonara Setsubo Sensei was, but that's also it's a very cynical,
nihilistic show.
Yeah. So,
but it's at least less defeatist than Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei. So watched a little bit of Sleepy Princess and the Demon Castle. That had solid humor. It kind of fell back on one joke a lot, though, so I don't know how fresh it was able to keep it throughout the whole series, but that's a good choice, I think. And I didn't really watch anything else on this list, so I guess Kaguya-sama's fine. I don't know. I'm willing to let it have that. I don't have a solid tentpole choice out of all of these, so
me neither. And maybe I don't know. It's just comedy is for me a very a genre in anime I get rarely into. It's comedy on the side is alright for me and it's fun, but I never really seek out shows that are mainly about that. And Kaguya-sama might be incredibly well done show, but a romantic comedy where that is the only thing, like really the only thing, like these two trying to get together but not to get together, and that being the whole source of the comedy sounds actually like a nightmare to me. Like, it's so not is so difficult to write is the problem. It's so not up my alley. But I don't know. Maybe I'll check that weird fucking whatever that isekai, the Misfit of Demon King Academy, long ass title, blah blah blah. Holy shit! I never realized the name was actually that long. Yeah, me neither. But what Mother's Basement, Jeff Thu has shown about that shows look very fun. I mean, I've heard My Next Life as a Villainess is a fun show, but I definitely never checked it out. So I don't know. There's some kind of comedy shows that might be fun or might be interesting to me, but it's like low on on my list of interests. So yeah, we'll see. Not really a category I'm invested in. A category I am very invested in, however, which is up next, is Best Drama. And the winner of this category is Fruits Basket Season 2. Fucking obviously. Like... free. It's a free choice. Yes. I mean, Beastars is a very close second. Somali is third, I would say. Putting Somali on this list instead of fantasy baffles me. Yeah. Like, what the fuck? Who made that choice? Saying Yesterday for me is... God, that show, I started to watch it and I didn't review it because, man, that ending was like, let's just end with a good old NTR. And yeah, good drama. Good drama. All right. Great Pretender had well-written drama, but kind of destroyed any resonance that had with its shitty ending retrospectively, so why even put it on here? I watched a bit of Japan Sings, but the drama in that was a bit too forced and artificial and over the top and stupid after a while, so nope. The first episode was great, like this whole setup, or the first two episodes were fantastic. I was like, wow, this is gonna be a fucking thrill ride, and then it got really dumb really fast, so nope. So Fruits Basket, without a doubt, incredibly well written, surprisingly dark character drama with a bit of comedy on the side. That's what I meant, how I like it. We both love both seasons, so yeah, well deserved. Might take the category again next year with its third season, maybe. Probably another battle between Fruits Basket and Beastars. Yeah, we'll see. Without a doubt. Yeah. Both very strong contenders in this category. Going on strong. John, what is the next category? Nominees for
best fight scene.
Also a very heavily contended category.
Yes, the winner being Deku versus Overhaul from My Hero Academia Season 4. Sure.
That was my feeling about it. It's like, all right.
And I mean, this is a weird category because we have 2 entries from the God of High School, and it's like you couldn't pick one and then find something else. And those are both awesome fights, Jean versus Han and Jean versus Jaegal, but and it's weird. It's equally weird because both of those are up against Satoru versus Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen. So there's a lot of infighting in this category about fighting.
Yeah. I love Deku versus Overhaul, so I can't really say anything against it, really. But I feel like the reason it won was because of those final 1 or 2 minutes where Deku goes all out and the emotional component with Eri and the score and everything. Not because of the actual fight that came before it, because we had a lot stronger fights in My Hero Academia than that. Like that 1 or 2 minutes was super well staged with music and all of that. It hits you right in the feels. But pick any of the longer fights from Jujutsu Kaisen or God of High School, and you have actually consistently cooler, varied, and more well choreographed Sakuga-laden fights than this one. And even the fights they put on the shortlist from those 2 shows are not necessarily the best fights from each respective series so far.
It's almost like when a show starts 1 year and continues into the next year, you should wait to evaluate it on its whole merits. Wow, that sounds familiar. It's because I said it earlier.
I mean, both fights against Mahito in Jujutsu Kaisen were in the previous year, right? They were still part of fall season. So why are they not like the fight against Sukuna is super short. Like, it's barely in there. Why is this on this list?
Like, if I had... Yeah, exactly. I think the one to pick would have been Yuji and Nanami versus Mahito, because...
Absolutely.
Fuck, dude. That shit was wild.
That was crazy. That was one of the best anime fights I've seen, period. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Crunchy? Why is that not on here? And instead the other one that lasts like for, I don't know, 20 seconds or something, and it is in the second episode. It's... Yeah. I don't know, that makes no sense to me. It's crazy, and since then the show has gotten even crazier with fights, so I mean, it still has a chance to get picked again next year, but I don't know, the choices here are weird, and like I said, in God of High School as well, I would say, of all of those 2, I think Jin versus Han was probably, because there was also an emotional component to it, was the strongest one, but also I enjoyed the choreography in Jin versus, what was his name, the Fox guy, who is his caretaker, who took care of him for a while, or was a friend of his grandfather, whatever. Yeah, right? That fight was also amazing. I would put that on here, probably, instead of the other 2. I don't know. It's weird. It's like, it's a couple of weird choices they put on here, and the winner is weird as well. I don't know how to feel about any of this. Honestly, I might have picked Berkeley versus Vecta over Deku and Overhaul.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a bad show again, and, you were not really emotionally invested, but it was a really cool-looking fucking sword fight and fantasy fight.
That's true. I mean, SAO had some good fights, but the problem with it was, everything about it meant nothing until,
yeah, and that's
the ending.
Yeah, that's why Deku vs. Overhaul won, right? Because there was a lot at stake here. There was a lot of character building done before that, and even though the actual fight is not that great, in my opinion, except for the last 2 minutes where it goes super crazy, and the fucking fists raining from heaven. But hey, we had that in God of High School as well. But there was a lot of stuff done with Overhaul's character. There was a lot of stuff done with Deku, with Eri and everything, and a lot of crazy shit and dark shit happening before that. So it felt very rewarding seeing that happen. And that's also a component of a good fight scene. I can see that. Just if you concentrate on the fight itself, I would rate like that Mahito fight needed to be on here. Like that would have taken the pick for me. It's crazy. And we haven't touched on the last one, Brawler versus Master from Akudama Drive, and we'll get to that later. But that could have also been a serious contender because there's also a really cool fight with a lot of, at least on one side of things, stakes, because you've actually spent more time with those characters and partially learned to care about at least one of those characters. So, I feel like Dekuverse overall might be more of a contender for best fuck yeah moment than actual best fight scene for me. I guess that's what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'll go with Mori versus Han. I guess out of all of these.
Yeah, that's fine.
What's up next?
Yeah, John. Next would be best character design. Do you have anything to say about that? Because I don't. It's like I mean, fine with all of these for different reasons. It's like I haven't watched the winner, and I don't know.
I haven't watched any of these beginning to end.
I mean, you have. You don't need to watch these to judge the character design, I guess, because that's also
true.
But also, what? All right, what? I don't know. I got nothing. I got no whatsoever in this race. It seems like there's probably some shows that have more distinctive character designs than fucking Yashahime, so I don't know why that is in here.
Yeah. All right, like it's Inuyasha all over again. The character designs were fine the first time around. I don't know if it deserves to be on this list.
Yeah. And I like the character designs in A Great Pretender a lot, but okay, I guess that could have been the winner for me or Eizouken because it was very creative and expressive, but this is like, I don't care about this category. Next category, which I think both care about a lot, is best animation.
At least a little bit more than the last category.
Yeah, whoa. Okay, this is a real tough one. So, Great Pretender was also on this list. It's really sharp, colorful, has super expressive facial animation. Princess Connect, The God of High School, and Jujutsu Kaisen kicked major ass in the action animation department. Beastars is one of the very, 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 very few actual well-animated 3D anime shows. So they definitely all deserve to be here. But yeah, like I said, Eizouken took it, and I definitely feel like that's the correct choice because that show is about the actual creative process of animating, of becoming an animator, of making animation happen, and all that entails. Like I said, it gets into the creative process. It attaches a very important emotional component to it. That show is a love letter to animation and conveys that sentiment super well. So even if you may get more excitement out of the animation on some of the other shows, which I think I did, just from a perspective of craft and theme alone, this needed to go to Eizouken, and it did. So good on Masaki Yuasa and his team, I guess. What is your opinion on this?
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Again, I didn't watch the show all the way through, but I agree with Eizouken being the winner here.
Considering, maybe looking at the shows you actually watched or finished watching, what would be the content there? I guess that would be, Jujutsu. Oh, God damn it, that word. Jujutsu Kaisen hasn't finished yet. But still, it's right. You watch that. You watch Beastars, God of High School, Princess Connect. What would be your pick out of those four?
Can we make a separate category for anime that have good CG and just be like Beastars?
Yeah, exactly. That would be a very little. Just Beastars in there. Fuck. It's like. I mean, actually, there's good CG in other anime in terms of machinery, in terms of, environment and stuff like that. But in terms of actual character CG, that is, holy shit, that is a very small selection. I can't even think of another show except for Beastars offhand, the orange shows would probably put Land of the Lustrous in there as well. But aside from that, Like, there is not really any show, in my opinion, that deserves to be on that list. Like, Dorohedoro, neither. Like, the CG in that was also very, I don't know, your standard kind of stiff, choppy 3D CG in a way. So, I don't know. Beastars definitely would win, like all of those.
It. Again, that would be a free pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I'd probably pick Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. Either Jujutsu Kaisen or God of High School. I mean, both shows are essentially the same team at MAPPA, so it's hard to pick between the two. But I mean, there's also Princess Connect, which was like lavishly overproduced. I think is the best way to refer to it. Fuck it, I'll give it to the God of High School. Pending on that being able to change to Jujutsu Kaisen, just because, show's still going, and, there still might be some more moments there.
Right, that's true. I'm looking forward to... I haven't watched the newest episode yet, so I don't know what crazy shit waits for me there.
This episode was pretty fucking good.
Amazing show. We'll get to it eventually. But yeah, next category, John, is Best Director. Do you want to tell us about that?
The winner for Best Director was one Masaki Yuasa, director of Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, among many, many other things. Yeah, I mean, he wanted to help direct an anime about making the anime, and boy, he and his team put all their heart and soul into this show, and goddamn, it's hard to not have respect for that in his craft. But I mean, there's obviously others on this list. Like, it's starting to look like a lot of the usual suspects that we've already talked about, like Sung-Hoo Park, who worked on Jujutsu Kaisen, I guess
God of High School.
Yeah, and God of High School. And, he knows how to, knows how to get his team getting some good old Sakuga on the screen, and god damn.
Yeah, he definitely, if a director's job is to pick the right people, though that might be the producer's job, I'm not sure. But, and convey to them what needs to happen on the screen and what he wants from them, what he wants it to look like. He got that down in terms of the fight scenes, because holy shit, he or someone in his team on his past two projects definitely know how a good fight needs to look. So, and showing me shit that I've never seen before.
We also had Yuzuru Tachikawa, who directed Decadence, and in the past worked on, this little show, maybe you've heard of it, called Mob Psycho 100. Tachikawa and his crew definitely do a lot of great work. Even if I didn't get through Decadence, I respect what he and his team were doing with the show. So that's cool. That's fine. That's, also definitely deserves to be on this list. Not really familiar with Hiro Kaburagi, I think, outside of Great Pretender. I don't know about you.
I mean, I talked about what he did before. I forgot now because there's so many.
Wait, I'm stupid. He directed 91 Days. That's right.
Right, exactly. That's what it was. I know there was something we reviewed of his. So yeah, also good stuff. Like I said, I was very disappointed by Great Pretender when the last two episodes hit, because I think that story just completely shits the bed. But, I don't know if he is responsible for that, or the writer. I assume the latter. But, maybe shared blame. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily put it on the list, but also direct is a bunch of other stuff. So, and that is a very well directed show. So sure, why not? And I've watched any of the other shows. Like, I watched Decadence, yes, Jujutsu Kaisen, Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. Didn't watch Tower of God, didn't watch Kaguya-sama. Everything I said in the best animation category applies here as well, in my opinion. You already said it. Like, in terms of what Masaki Yuasa did with Eizouken. And every direction choice there makes you feel the love Masaki Yuasa has for this medium. And to convey it that well takes some serious passion and skill. So, yeah, he and his team, in my opinion, deserved to win this category, obviously. So, I got nothing more to add to that. I think the win is well deserved.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So next up is best English voice acting performance. I don't think either of us watch a lot of dubs.
No, and I got no horse in this race and in Japanese performance either. Where it's like where I would say, yeah, that's definitely the guy. Yeah,
I mean, I've watched some clips of the Beastars dubs, so Jonah Sky is pretty damn good as Legoshi. So, you know, I guess I'll pick him because he's the one I know out of these 6. And I guess as for Japanese voice acting performance, I mean, it's easy to go to Yuichi Nakamura because he's great. I love him. Fun.
Yeah.
But I guess I'd go for something a little bit different with Mutsumi Tamura because she's great as Kanamori. Very deadpan, very to the point.
Very, very deadpan. So deadpan, in fact, that it felt her performance felt a bit monotonous to me at points, anyway. But that's also that's part of the humor and everything. I guess that's what was part of the intent. So I guess just. Not necessarily something I would classify as best voice work. I put probably, I don't remember the voice actor's name. I'm sorry, I'm really bad with voice actor names. But the voice actor of Legoshi in there.
Chikahiro Kobayashi, I believe.
Okay. And who is really good at bringing out the very, I don't know, shy, soft-spoken character traits of Legoshi, but also when he goes wild and, fights for what he believes in and for the people who are important to him. And I think it's sometimes a switch that is not super easy, like, conveying both sides of a person. But I think he does it very well. But Legoshi is not on this list, so I don't...
Kobayashi kind of came up real quick because I think the first role that I think we really heard him as was Sugimoto in Golden Kamui. And then he kind of started to branch out from there real quick. And, every time I get to hear him, I'm like, hey, it's my boy. So
dude has talent. I mean, that is the whole explanation to it, right? I mean, his role as Sugimoto is also fantastic. So good stuff. I mean, I don't know why he isn't on this list for either of those. I mean, he could have been on here for Sugimoto as well because Golden Kamui was a fall show. So the absence of Golden Kamui in general from this is kind of shitty. I don't. So whatever. But yeah, definitely. I don't really have a horse in the race.
Yeah, I mean, Megumi Ogata is on this list. She's been in the game for a long goddamn time, and I respect her, but I don't know what her performance was like in Hanako-kun. And from the first episode of Wave, Listen to Me, I mean, Riho Sugiyama can talk really, really, really fast.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah, if that is the metric, if that is the thing you need to win this, then sure, she could win it. But also, it's not for me. And did we say, no, we didn't even say the winner. The winner was Yusuke Kobayashi as Natsuki Subaru for Zero Starting Life in Another World. And for the English voice actor Zeno Robinson as Hawks from My Hero Academia season 4. So, I don't know. I haven't watched the English version of My Hero Academia. I haven't watched either version of ReZero yet, so I can't say if that win is deserved or not.
I mean, yeah, I've heard Yusuke Kobayashi around. I don't think he was in a whole lot last year. Oh, wait, no. Jesus Christ. He was Magic and Orphan. So, yes, I did hear a pretty decent amount of him.
Okay.
I keep having to correct myself in real time.
It's no problem. Makes it fun. But yeah, I'll see if I agree with this once I actually start watching ReZero. But so far, I got nothing on these two categories, really.
That's fair.
It's just I would have wished, the voice actor of Legacy to be in there.
Yeah. So what's next?
Next is Best ED or ending theme or ending animation or whatever. And yeah, the winner is Lost in Paradise by Ali. Is it AKLO or AKLO or whatever?
I would guess AKLO.
Yeah, but that's the ending theme, the first ending theme from Jujutsu Kaisen. And is that still the current one? I don't remember. No, I think they changed it.
Yeah, they changed it.
Yeah, right. But it's a better one, and it's just a fantastic in general. Like art style and song are super groovy and fun, and they rotoscoped the shit out of the dancing in that scene, but in that ED. But yeah, it's great.
So good. It's like I think maybe I heard Night Running once on this list of nominees. I don't know any of the other ones off of this, so Lost in Paradise is like it's a free pick for me.
I also love the ED to Inspector, and putting the actual song Great Pretender in as the ED for the show Great Pretender was the obvious and only good choice. But I still definitely, like without a doubt, this is a clear win for Ali or LAI. I don't know how he is pronounced, how his artist name is pronounced. But yeah, definitely, like Lost in Paradise is a fantastic ending theme and has great animation going with it. So
it's so good that it fooled one of our friends into thinking Jujutsu Kaisen was an entirely different genre show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well done, Lost in Paradise. Like that one a lot. John, what is the next category?
Best opening sequence, and the winner is Wildside, again by Ali from Beastars.
Again, well deserved.
Again, free. No, that's not true. That's not true.
There are very heavy contenders.
Is fucking hot. I love that intro.
Absolutely. It would have been a super good pick. Although I like Vivid Vice even more. Maybe that one will be considered next year. But that's also a thing. A preference thing. I like the more rock-ish stuff more. Haikyuu's Phoenix by the Burnout Syndromes was definitely good as well. They're very reliable when it comes to delivering hype tracks. Although nothing beats Fly for me from that show, both in terms of animation and song.
Easy Breezy is on this list, and it's fine. I think a lot of people just made a big deal out of that one. And I'm like, it's okay. I don't think
it's catchy in a way. I neither really like the song or the animation on the OP from Eizouken that much, but I can see why it's on this list.
I was just gonna out and say it that I don't think, as much as Eizouken has going on in its show, I don't think the opening sequence has a lot going on.
No, not really. I mean, it's like, hey, here's all this shit that maybe goes into animation, creative mind, train of thought, blah, 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 and it's wild.
Send all your hate mail to animebrainfreeze@gmail.com.
Send emails in general. We would actually like to do a fucking mail segment on the show. Maybe I should promote that more. But so far we haven't gotten any mailbag stuff yet. So we would love to do this shit. So write fucking emails or Twitter comments. Ask us questions. Wait, that's probably not the right way to ask for a fan listener interaction. But you know what I mean. Get on writing. Anyway. Sorry, John.
Daddy Daddy Do is fun. It's a great intro sequence as well. I found myself watching that a few times, but again, didn't really sit down and watch much of Kaguya-sama outside of clips on YouTube and on Twitter. So yeah, Wildside or Kai Kai Kitan I feel like are the picks for me. I don't know which one I would pick over the other though.
How about first we talk about the biggest snub song-wise, though, that is not on this list. How dare you leave Contradiction from God of High School off this short list?
You're right. Oh, Contradiction is hot.
Like, what the fuck? I mean, yes, the actual animation in the OP is just reused scenes from the show, but that song makes up for it by being an absolute banger. This should have at least be considered. I am super mad.
Or, I'm just going to throw it out there, the intro sequence from Princess Connect.
That's also very good.
Lost Princess is a fun song, and god damn, that intro sequence was like, we're just gonna fire on all cylinders for a minute and a half. You just sit back and let us have fun. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Agreed. But yeah, Ali cleaned house on both ED and OP with Beastars, and with Wildside, rightfully so. Creative stop motion OP and an incredible song that is a true emotional roller coaster ride. But I guess that's called jazz.
Get out.
But yeah, well deserved. I probably would have picked that too, even though I'm not even the biggest stop motion animation fan. But I think that OP is so fucking unique, and the song is so good and eerie and fun at the same time. And yeah, I love it. I think it's great. So yeah, we'll see what happens next year. But this year, yeah, Wildside definitely would have been a winner for me. So, John, next category, which is, I think, very near and dear to your heart. Best Girl, go.
I mean, here's the thing about this list. I only actually watched one of these shows beginning to end.
That's true.
Okay, so the winner, we'll just put it out there out front, is Kaguya Shinomiya from, you guessed it, Kaguya-sama Love is War, question mark? I'm going to say it like that every time.
I just realized that in the title screen, when scrolling down for the title artwork for Love is War, the question mark is kind of shifted and designed like a 2. So, okay, I get it. Well, you did well. You did well.
Like, I guess we'll look at the rest of this list. I didn't watch Dorohedoro, so I don't know anything about Noi.
Yeah,
I watched maybe 2 episodes of Great Pretender, and I have no idea who Abigail is. So.
I don't know why Abigail is on this list, really. Like, they do some stuff with her, but Best Girl is not the thing I would consider her for. Like, not at all. So, there would be other characters in this show that would fit more too.
Yeah, I didn't watch My Next Life as a Villainess, so I don't know. I mean, I hear Katarina is an interesting character at least, so okay, sure, maybe she deserves to be here. Sayaka is, funny and good, so all right, fine. Chizuru is a good girl. She's fine. She definitely is trying to, constantly kick Kazuya's ass into shape to get him to be, not a loser, because let's be real, Kazuya's a fucking loser and he needs someone to set him straight. And Chizuru is kind of there for it. So also a fine pick. I don't have a strong pick. Like, it's this character out of any of these, though. So I don't even remember who won last year, if it was a stronger pick. But I'll throw anyone from Princess Connect in there, because those are all better girls.
All right.
Oh, okay. So last year was, last year the winner was Raphtalia from Shield Hero.
Nope. No.
Let's go back to 2018 when the winner was Ochako from Hero Aka. There's your pick.
Totally fine with that. Wouldn't even know if that would be my pick from My Hero Academia, but that's an alright pick. I think this year, from the available options, probably Sayaka Kanemori from Nezuken for me. Like, she's cool, reliable character. She keeps the other girls in line. She, fills in the producer role quite well. She has a dry sense of humor. It's like, she got style, definitely. Look at that fucking backpack, people. But yeah, she's cool. So yeah, I would pick her. I guess Natsume from Decadence probably isn't on this list because everyone forgot about her, just like the actual show did. Ayo!
I was about to say, and she kind of turned out to not be the main character.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Which we'll get to. I feel like Arte or Usurper deserved a spot on this list.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
And maybe Somali too, even. I don't know if kids are allowed, but she's a very cool character with neat character development. So I can't say anything about Kaguya from Kaguya Love is War because I haven't watched that. But yeah, there were more interesting female characters in the shows I watched that are on this list, and especially why is Abigail on this? Anyway, I don't understand. There are definitely better picks there, but yeah, from those available, I would have picked Sayaka definitely.
Next up is what is next up?
Best Boy is next up, and at least there is some more in there that I actually from shows that I actually watched. So
same.
Yeah, the winner is Shoyo from Hinata. I like him a lot.
Shoyo from Hinata?
Shoyo from Haikyuu. I like him a lot. Like, in general, I think Shoyo is a great character. Super fun, super funny, relatable, endearing. Just a great character all around. A good friend, a reliable team player. But come on, give it to poor Legoshi from Beastars.
Yeah, come on, man.
The guy has enough to deal with. He deserves this. So, like, this isn't even a question for me. Like, he's such a nice person who has to deal with a lot of shit. Like, give this award to my poor wolf boy. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, this is... any other week, maybe I would have given it to Shuyo or any other year, but come on. Like, this is... Give it to the guy next year then, for season 2 of Beastars. But that's my word. And Legacy should have gotten this.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, Gojo is a fun character. He's not, but he kind of just does what he do and says fuck everybody else. So I don't know if that's good criteria for Best Boy.
Yeah, he, like you said, he's fun. He is very strong, but also he has. You really don't know if he is that much of a good guy yet, because he has a very clear agenda, and you don't really know what he's willing to sacrifice to make that shit happen. So he puts on this mask, literally, yeah, and so you really don't. But there might be some darker tones underneath there, and we'll see. I don't know. And all the other characters I can't tell anything about because I haven't watched those shows. So,
yeah, me neither.
Yeah, no idea. But yeah, Legacy, clear pick here. Clear pick. Next category, John, best antagonist. What do you got to say about that?
I don't like this pick, but
no, me neither.
I guess the pick was Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen. What has he done?
Exactly.
He possessed Itadori, and it's like that's it. That's all he's kind of just there wringing his hands in the background, waiting for his
he's
fingers
fucking
to come
in the
back
background.
To him.
He has not been enough of a presence in Jujutsu Kaisen so far to merit that win at all, not even remotely. He's fun, don't get me wrong, he's menacing and interesting, but we have seen him in like 3 episodes tops.
Yeah.
So far, that's it. Like on a whole, in terms of all scenes accumulated, there's maybe like 2 episodes or 3 episodes as a whole where he was like an important player. And picking Mahito would have made much more sense to me in terms of antagonists in that show, because he has much more scene presence and he's like dealing out some really dangerous shit, and he and his group are like a super threatening presence to all the characters in the show. So Sukuna will be maybe the best antagonist in a couple of years when we have a bunch of when Mappa has a bunch of seasons of Jujutsu Kaisen under its belt. But right now, nope.
I mean, let's be real. Out of these 6 picks, there's a free winner again.
Yes, obviously.
And it's Akito.
Obviously.
Come on.
How do you not? The only reason I'm not super mad about this
is because Akito's actually on the list.
He's on the list, and he has still a chance to win this category next year with the third season of Fruits Basket, which I assume is coming this year. So that might still happen, but him not winning or her. Wait,
I was about to say, I guess we should get it right.
Yeah. I mean, that's giving it away a big plot point in Fruits Basket, but fucking watch that show. Her not getting this is ridiculous to me, because like such a well-written, like well-built up antagonist in so many ways, like having so many relations to so many different characters and being an antagonist to them in so many different ways. How do you not fucking pick Akito for this category? I don't understand.
I don't know. And
I mean, Overhaul from My Hero Academia would have been fine too, I guess, but also the show had stronger antagonists with All for One and Shigaraki already.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Akito
Overhaul is there for 12 episodes, and then he becomes a multiple paraplegic.
Yes. Well, that's not his fault. Well, it kind of is. He brought that on himself, but still. Yeah. Like, no. And in terms of writing, he has a good character motivation, I guess, and he's interesting, but, nothing that merits, like, nothing that comes even close to the build-up and the work done on Akito. Like, not even remotely. No. Yeah, I feel like Sukuna is one of those, like, as a winner, is one of those chosen because a lot of people watch this show and it's the most recent series on this list wins.
Fucking-lutely, dude. Like, there's no other reason.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I don't even know much of anything about the other picks other than, I guess Rachel from Tower of God is kind of a conniving person, and I've only seen clips of Echidna from ReZero, but I guess she's kind of a weird schemer. So, I mean, you plan on eventually watching that, so we'll see how that pans outwards. So, and maybe I'll eventually end up watching it, so I'll have more context. But it's Akito. Come on, it's Akito.
Absolutely Akito. No doubt about it. It's crazy to me that she didn't get picked. When I saw that in those nominations, I was like, yeah, it's obvious. It's fucking obvious. So, I don't know why this didn't happen. It's ridiculous. All right, next category, Best Protagonist. Yeah, rephrasing what I said earlier.
This seems like another pick because the show was popular, but it doesn't seem like a terrible pick from everything I learned about the character.
And I can't speak to it because I've watched that show. Like my next, like Katarina from My Next Life as a Villainess, or Roots Lead to Doom. I haven't watched that show. I try to watch as few isekai shows as I can. So I didn't. So I don't know. Maybe she's a fantastic character. I believe it. I can see it in a way because that's an interesting setup, I guess. But I don't know. So. What are the other contenders on this list? Natsume from Decadence would have been a strong contender if she had stayed relevant to the actual plot of the show. So why she is the pick from Decadence when it turned out to be more Kaburagi's story is beyond me.
Yeah.
Like, if you have to pick one of the characters in this show, pick the one that actually matters to the story, like from beginning to end, and has the most agency. And that is Kaburagi. Like, definitely. He's the main protagonist, and he's the best protagonist in terms of, Natsume plays an important part in his development, but it's still his show. So, I don't know why she is on this list. Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen has a lot of potential, but he's not there yet, I would say, because, it show's still running and everything, and he's still learning shit. But, yeah, he's fun, he's sympathetic and everything.
He's a good, solid pick, though.
He's a good guy. And, for a shonen protagonist, he is better than a lot of those. So, yeah. Midori from Isoken is neat. She's definitely sympathetic and has some decent character development in the show. On the other hand, I think Tsubame's story is probably the strongest, so she would have probably been my pick from that show. Shoyo from Haikyuu, again, definitely deserved a spot on this list for Haikyuu to the top for the fourth season, because more than any other season before it, this fourth one was definitely his, at least in some of the most important moments. Still, I would have given it either to Kyo from Fruits Basket or Legoshi from Beastars, and neither of them is on this list. What the fuck happened here? What? What the hell are these two categories, John? These omissions.
It's choices by committee.
The fans also voted for this. But
yeah, because these choices were put to them first. They didn't pick the nominees. They only picked the nominees after they were chosen.
Yeah, true. I forgot how this stupid shit works. Holy shit, yeah, that makes, like, these two categories are such a clusterfuck to me. This is ridiculous. Like, I can't say about anything about the winner of best protagonist because I haven't seen that show, so that might be a justified win. But Kyo and Legoshi not even being on this shortlist, and people like Natsume on here and Yuji and Anos Voldegode.
What a name!
Which I also haven't watched that show, so I can't say anything about that anus guy. But come on, like, fucking put Kyo or Legoshi in there. It's like so fucking obvious. I don't understand. And I just realized I said Kyo all the time. Of course, I meant Yuki from Fruits Basket because this is his season.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
my mistake. Sorry if you people were confused. This is not really Kyo's. It wasn't really Kyo's season, but of course I meant Yuki. I'm sorry. I was mad. I picked the wrong name. Of course I meant Yuki from Fruits Basket and Legoshi.
The worst thing is I knew who you meant, and I didn't correct you because in my brain I was like, yeah, that's right.
Fruits Basket, yeah, that character.
him, the white-haired one. That's Kyo.
Yeah,
right?
that's Kyo, right? Fucked up there, but no, definitely, yeah,
definitely
deserved. Yeah, definitely Yuki deserved to be on this list.
So, I guess that takes us to the end with Anime of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And the choice chosen by all of you specifically, you, Steve. It was your choice. I don't even know if we have any listeners named Steve, but you know. Anime of the Year, Jujutsu Kaisen. I mean, again, the show's not done, but I guess it's a good pick.
That's the problem. You can't really say anything about it, but you also have this aftertaste in your mouth that I brought up earlier, where it's like, this feels like the choice because it's the most recent anime with the best fight scenes. Like, that one anime of the year again, just like Demon Slayer did last year.
Yes.
And yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen is still running. That first season is not even over, so this feels like a cheat. But since I like that show a lot, I guess I'm fine with it. At least it doesn't have any shit-tier characters like Zenitsu in it that aren't supposed to be antagonists, at least. So, I don't know. What about the other contenders on this shortlist, though?
There was Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken, which, you know.
Yeah,
sure.
I can see it.
Yes.
I can see it. I mean, I was not super attached to this show, just, you know, after thinking about it for a while, in terms of actual, like, being super engaged, but I liked its themes. I liked how it realized conveying the joy for the medium of animation, and I think in that regard it's a very important show. Again, just like probably Devilman Crybaby, it's a show that I respect more than I actually loved.
Right.
So I guess that could be reason enough to put it on here as a winner because, you know, it's about anime, and Eizouken is all about animation, so that kind of feels like maybe it should have been the win. But I personally wouldn't have chosen it from the shows that are on this list.
Yeah. There's Great Pretender.
Like,
why?
Neither Golden Kamui or Fruits Basket even being on this list while Great Pretender made it on here somehow is fucking offensive. To me personally. Who picked this?
Where's Somali? Where's Arte? Yeah. Where's anything?
Yeah. Where's shows that actually end on a satisfying note?
Dorohedoro is on here for some reason.
I haven't watched that show. I can't, I heard really good things about the manga. This is why I want to check it out, but it had too much CG for me in it, so I don't know if that is... I didn't continue watching it after 2 episodes, so I was like, okay, I don't know if there's any merit to putting it on this list. The last two, Upper Manman was a really fun, really well done show. I probably wouldn't pick it as anime of the year, though.
Yeah.
It's really, I would recommend it to anyone, watching it, because it's a really fun little show. It's really enjoyable, but I don't know. I don't feel this is like Anime of the Year material. I feel we had stronger shows this year. And,
Yeah, you're right.
Fruits Basket being one of them. So this not being on here is just, what are you doing? How about Beastars?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's weird to me because it deserves to be on this list, obviously. But all throughout talking about it in this conversation, it's not a 2020 show. It was only by virtue of that because fuck Netflix. That's why.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's right. I mean, you could stay like, hey, okay, this is gonna be, I don't know, the 2021 thing then, and you can bring it up there again. But yeah, I guess we have to go by American release date, which was artificially prolonged by Netflix. So yeah, it maybe wouldn't be on this list otherwise. But if it is on here, so I would pick it. I'm like I said, I'm fine with Jujutsu Kaisen, but in terms of actually feeling like Anime of the Year, and considering how much I liked it despite it being a 3D anime and everything, and how emotionally engaged I was with that show, I think Beastars would take. I would even take probably Upper Runman over Jujutsu Kaisen because that show isn't finished. I love that show a lot. I think it's an incredibly hyped show. I think it's super fun. I think the characters are fun. I think the animation is fucking incredible. It's not finished yet, and it won't be finished. Like, the story won't be finished after its first season. I mean, neither is Beastars. True, let's be honest. But I feel like, hey, this would be something for next year, because then actually the first season is wrapped up, and then you can actually pick the whole, dissect the whole show, consider the whole show. While for this, you could maybe only count half. And I think the show got only really, really good and really, really strong in its second half in terms of what it's doing with its characters and everything. Or, well, let's say, okay, the very last part of the first half was probably its strongest so far. And then, we got all the new characters, and now the really cool fights are happening and shit, and the villains are doing their thing. And, there's a lot of escalation, let's put it that way. So it feels wrong to me to put Jujutsu Kaisen as the winner up here, because, again, it seems like it was picked because it's the most recent show that is on everyone's mind, and that's why people picked it. That's the whole reason. That's the wrong reason to pick a show as Anime of the Year.
Right. I mean, I don't think it deserves to be on this list, and I'm glad it's not, but I'm shocked. I'm actually shocked Sword Art isn't anywhere on here except for that one fight scene. But that aside, there were much better picks, and I can't wait to see how bad Crunchyroll's picks are next year. We should have our own anime awards with blackjack and hookers.
I mean, we're doing our best of the season thing, so I guess it wouldn't make much sense to also choose a best of the year. So just look at our fucking best of the season picks, and then you have 4 best of the year shows. At least, if not 8. It's
true.
Right. I mean, we could choose a winner from those shows. But, it's fun looking at the choices other people make, and Crunchyroll itself, and doing like this big thing. Of course, that's fun.
And seeing how wrong they are. I mean, what?
Yeah. Or the people who chose it. But yeah, it's weird. There's some good picks on here. There are definitely some, obvious picks on here that were made, that were the right choice. Eizouken in some categories, and, Fruits Basket as best drama, definitely. That makes total sense, and those were the right choices. But some of these categories, just the shows put in there, and the winners especially, it's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I mean, all of this is subjective, obviously, and I won't fault you for liking Jujutsu Kaisen over any of the shows we mentioned. But still, to me, putting some of the other shows not on here,
it borders on a war crime.
I saw someone making a joke on Twitter. It's I love the system of the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, of the actual shortlists being chosen by critics, and the actual winners being chosen by the public, by the audience, so nobody gets what they want.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, well, I guess That's the truth. Maybe they should rethink that model, because this feels half-baked. And maybe they should just make it a complete public vote and be done with it. And probably Jujutsu Kaisen would win again then too, because that's the show everyone is watching right now. One of the shows everyone is watching. So maybe I don't know, or not do a vote on the shows from fall, like exclude them for some reason, so that people can pick the most recent show and have to actually think about the shows that, I don't know. There's got to be a better way, but this happened 2 years in a row now, and I'm seeing a pattern, and I don't like that pattern.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens next year, John. Are you looking forward to it?
No.
It's fun talking about it, though, and, ragging on it and making fun of it. So... I hope our listeners got a bit of fun out of it too. We rambled on long enough, so let's get to our first review of this episode.
Yes. So, now that that's all out of the way, at least we didn't go on as long as we did last year.
How long did we go on last year?
I think we went on for close to a couple of hours.
Right. That's I don't remember if we had a review on that show as well, but I don't. I'd have to look it up.
But yes, we spared you the extra long discussion and tried to streamline it a bit. So now we can get to the first show, Talentless Nana, which something of a weird surprise hit for me. So what's it about? Well, 50 years ago, horrific creatures dubbed as the enemies of humanity suddenly appeared around the world. To combat these threats, teenagers gifted with supernatural abilities called talents, such as pyrokinesis and time travel, and you can use your imagination, hone their powers at an academy on a secluded island. Nanao Nakajima, however, is quite different from the others on the island. He has no talent. With many talented teenagers around him, Nanao is often a target for bullying, but even so, he still strives to complete his training. Soon after, two transfer students, the mysterious Kyoya Onodera and the mind-reading Nana Hiragi, join the class. But just as everyone starts blending as comrades in arms, mysterious disappearances begin to threaten the class's entire foundation. So, this is based off of a manga written by, don't know their gender or their actual name, but their pen name is, and I hope you're ready for this, CC. The pen name is Loose Boy. Maybe not quite as good as some of the names I was relating to you from Orphan, but still pretty good. With art being done by Iori Furuya. So we got the typical. Sometimes they're not typical. Sometimes it happens. The two-person team working on a manga together. But yes, the manga started back in 2016 and is still running. I believe the last volume came out this past October. And this was animated by the crew at Studio Bridge, who I mentioned briefly when talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s during a sneak peek. This is better animated than that.
Okay, that's something. You weren't too hot on Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess it doesn't really matter as much for Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s because that's playing to a younger crowd, like an even younger crowd than Yu-Gi-Oh! Has in the past.
Are you saying that younger kids should be happy with shitty animation? John, is that what you are saying?
I'm not, but they don't care.
Yeah, maybe.
They also worked on stuff like Cardfight Vanguard, a whole bunch of fairy tale, the Keroro Gunso movie, which is a name that hadn't crossed my mind for a long-ass time.
Never watched that show, but I am familiar with it.
I mean, that show is just Gundam, the side fan service show, because everybody loved building Gunpla. So it's a good show.
Mm-hmm.
And they worked on one of the seasons of Saint Seiya, Soul of Gold. That's just a side note. Saint Seiya is something that's been around forever, and I have been so far on the outside of. I don't know about you.
Yeah, always something I was interested in, but never managed to actually check it out. They've done so many different incarnations of this by now. Like, so I wouldn't even know where to start or what is actually what follows what, and how many parts are there, or are there remakes? Is there are they only sequels? I don't know.
Yeah, so that's a whole nother rabbit hole for another day.
I remember the Kick-Ass OP song though.
Oh yeah, Say
Chung. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this was directed by Shinji Ishihara, who's worked a whole bunch on stuff like Fairy Tail, Log Horizon. The OVA for Final Fantasy VII, On the Way to a Smile.
What the hell?
Yes.
That was Denzel's story, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the connective thread between everyone who's worked on the show is definitely Fairy Tail, because the two big writers who contributed a lot to this, Fumihiko Shimo and Shoji Yonemura, also worked on it. So, as far as I can tell, the fact that all of these people have worked together on at least something definitely was what contributed to making this show. Yeah, I don't think this is the best produced show this season or this year or ever, but it looked good. So, and I think the fact that they probably all had some shared history helped the team bring it together. The writers worked on a whole bunch of stuff, one of which I will point out probably very soon, which in the end made sense to me because of how this story progressed. And the music was done by Yasuharu Takanashi, who worked on Naruto, Zombieland Saga, Log Horizon. So, good music history in there, and definitely comes through in this show. So to talk about this show, I need to spoil it. And the spoilers are in the very first episode. So
go for it.
I'm probably not going to talk too much about the minutia of what comes in the middle, though, so that way, I can leave some of the stuff to you, the listener, the viewer, if you want to decide to watch this show, because I think the stuff that happens in the middle is pretty interesting. So Nanao is depicted as being a talentless kid, and it's well, why are you part of? And part of me is why are you part of this class? And Kyoya and Nana transfer in early on in this semester, I guess. They don't really. I don't think they really define when in the school year it is, like a hard set date. But they're trying to decide who should be, the class rep, who should be the incho. And there's, toward the end of the first episode, two of the characters get into a big ass fight, and one has fire powers and one has ice powers, and Nanao has to kind of step between them to make them stop. And it turns out, hey, Nanao wasn't actually talentless after all. He has the talent to nullify other talents. So I'm sitting here oh, so this is Index Junior or something. All right, okay. Maybe it would be a little less convoluted than Index.
One can only hope.
And it honestly is less of a mess. And I mean, as much as I enjoy Index, or have tried to enjoy Index outside of the most recent offering, God, Index 3 will just go down in history for me as being so bad.
Hey, at least you got another good season of Railgun out of it afterwards.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Science Side came in to save the day.
Doesn't it always?
Fucking true. So we find out that Nana, her power is that she can read minds. And she, that sort of starts to cause trouble for the other students because obviously they can't escape her thoughts. But, the power sort of comes and goes. It's weird. She can't really control it, what she hears. And she and Nanao go out to this like cliffside area, and they're having this talk about who should be the class rep, and it's like they're talking about oh, we should try and get along and be friends and whatnot. And Nanao takes Nana's hand, and it's like, hey, now that I'm nullifying your power, are you able to think more clearly about things? And she's like, yeah, actually, I am, and shoves him off the cliff. So it turns out that when Nanao is hanging by a thread, like a literal rope at the edge of this cliff, being like, why? And Nana's like, I bet you're thinking to yourself, why is she doing this? And she reveals to him, guess what, fucker? I can't actually read minds. So the first episode is this incredible piece of misdirection because the name of the show, Talentless Nana, well, the two quote unquote main characters kind of share a name. So when it turns out that, oh no, it was the actual name of the show, and we fooled you twice, by the way. And she sends Nanao plummeting to his death on jagged rocks in the ocean below. It becomes very clear that this show is not what it seems on the surface. Nana is a fucking stone cold killer, and we see that like constantly. She is scheming like every moment of every day on how to get rid of all of the kids around her and throw the suspicion off her. Well, it turns out that Kyoya is not immediately, but sort of gets wise to her. And a lot of this show turns into this cat and mouse game between how long can Nana get away with it? How far can Kyoya get with trying to piece together what's going on? And he gets close several times. It's kind of goofy because at one point, because at several points he's right there. He's right there. But everyone is on Nana's side because, she, through being able to get everyone on her side, to become the class rep, is able to consistently throw suspicion off her until, like, later in the show where it becomes a lot more difficult to, and there's reasons for that. It turns the show into this, like, from being Index Junior to Death Note Junior.
That's what it sounds like.
Which is funny because Shoji Yonemura did some writing for Death Note.
There we go.
So everything has come full circle. So the first 3 or 4 episodes is Nana figuring out ways to off the other kids. And sometimes it's brutal. Sometimes it's like, Jesus Christ, how did you think to come up with this thing? And the thing is, because she's not a mind reader, she's able to create the illusion that she is because she's super observant. And she's able to infer clues about people from what she sees and what she knows about them. And that's what makes her like really interesting, is because she can keep up that facade by looking around her and noticing like little ticks and mannerisms about each character. And I think that's what makes her makes her interesting to try and figure out. And we sort of see that there's this weird shadow organization that she works for that don't really know their aim other than it's to get rid of the talenteds. Because
I was about to ask, is there like any motive behind it? Does she have a personal motivation? Because if it's just a contract thing, it feels a bit shallow.
Well, there's a little bit that gets to that too.
Okay.
The motivation behind this organization is it the talenteds who are the enemies of humanity? They the bad guys all along? And there's this backstory that it's almost kind of like I guess the closest anime thing I can think of is with Promare, the difference between the Burnish and the regular humans, where the people who are the talented just thought so highly of themselves that they decided to lash out against the normies, as it were. And that's what caused this like world-ending conflict, and why they have to train these kids in order to fight the quote-unquote enemies of humanity, which, spoilers, they don't really go into it to the show, but spoilers, the enemies of humanity probably are the Talenteds after all. At least as far as I can infer from the plot that came up so far in this show. It turns out that, yes, there is infighting between the Talenteds, even on the island itself, because we get to a plot where one of the other students was murdered, and it wasn't by Nana. It was by somebody else. And trying to figure that out turns into a murder mystery on its own. But Kyoya is constantly trying to pin the blame on Nana, and he can't because there's no solid proof of it. And I don't want to give away what it turns out to be, but it's, oh man, it's a wild. That's a wild ride on its own. When Nana is trying to figure out everyone's talent, one of the people she logically has to go after is Kyoya, because he's so hot on her trail. But when it turns out she tries to blow him up basically in this supply shed with like a gas leak, turns out Kyoya's talent is that he's completely invincible.
That seems like a big problem if you want to off the guy. So you basically need to find a way for others to off him, or to off him for him to off himself, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And that becomes, the biggest problem of, everybody else has got to go, basically first. But how are you going to get to that point when you're the most likely suspect? One of the other key characters is this girl Michiru, who has a healing power, and it's funny because it's a little weird because her healing power is activated by her licking people. Her name is Michiru Inu Kai. Inu, she's a dog. Michiru ends up becoming a pretty important character too, because when the others end up finding one of the dead, poisoned corpses of one of the other students that Nana has killed, Michiru tries to find a way to bring this student back to life, and Nana is like, well, I guess you're public enemy number 2 now. But she has this crisis, this conflict, this inner conflict where, yeah, Michiru's got to go, because she's also a big threat if she can harness this power to bring back people from the dead. And she constantly thinks Michiru is out to get her, but it turns out, she just wants to be friends. And, because, Michiru trusts Nana. And, again, it's this crisis of character where she can't figure out what she wants to do. And it leads to this weird moment in the end that I don't necessarily think is earned or super well written, and I don't want to give that away either, but I think it gives some precedence for more story to come, because this show was only like 12, 13 episodes, and there's still plenty of story to go beyond that. And a lot of this,
exactly.
So this got to, it looks like there's currently 55 chapters in the manga, and this got to about chapter 28 to 30, in that range. So there's still plenty of story that can be told.
Is the manga finished?
No, it's still running. Okay. Everything has been collected into, I believe 6 or 7 volumes at present. So, there's still definitely more story to tell, on both sides. I
wonder how long you can drag that concept out, because Death Note get to a point where it just should have ended bunch of chapters ago, and it just kept going.
Oh,
and
no
introduced
doubt.
new characters. Like, that show should have ended when, Elle exited the scene. So,
Yes.
I wonder if something like that could happen to Talentless Nana.
I mean, they threw a little wrinkle in there because there's this character they introduce later on named Jin, who is the super powerful talented who can transform his appearance into other people. And not only does he transform his appearance, he also assumes their powers. So he's also something to be reckoned with, but it's not clear which side he's on.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know more about him as well, because he's definitely a wild card. I kind of started watching the show out of curiosity, but it fucking hooked me, man, because everything that happened was like, I gotta know what's next. I gotta know, because it wasn't, obviously the crux of the story is Nana figuring out who needs to get offed and in what order. But, there's also other moving parts to this story that I think make it interesting. So they haven't announced a second season. I don't know if they will. It got pretty good ratings from what I can see, but I don't know how the viewership was on it, though.
But yeah, I'm happy to hear that it's, actually turned out to be, a thrilling murder mystery thingy, with an edge. And,
edge it surely has.
Yeah. What you told me from, the first episode and everything, it sounded really interesting. And if the second season comes out, I might check it out. I like murder mysteries. I like procedurals and stuff. So this seems to be up my alley. I don't know why I didn't check out the first episode. Probably because I still had to catch up on a lot of shows for this review seasons. And I was like, I can't pick another one.
And that's the problem, isn't it? Trying to narrow down what to watch. And I just kind of fell into this show because I was curious about it. And, hopefully there's more of it in the future. But yeah, if there's a second season, which I think the interest is at least somewhat there, I'll be there because I want to see, how deep this weird ass rabbit hole goes, and if Nana can actually accomplish her mission, or if there's some other wrinkles that get thrown in there. So, I want to see more of it. And it sounds like you're on board for it too if it comes back. So yeah, I think this is a show that's definitely worth checking out. Like I said, it had pretty good production values. I don't know the studio outside of, the couple things that they've done that, only one of which I've actually watched. Because I think a lot of Fairy Tail was headed up by A1, wasn't it?
Yeah, A1 and Satellite, I think. I'm not sure.
And then it looks like Bridge kind of swept in after to kind of help out more than anything else. But yeah, this was a surprisingly solid show that I think is worth checking out. And like I said, I don't want to talk too much about what goes on in the middle or what happens at the end. I'm sure with some of the things I've said, you can infer a couple of things that happen. But yeah, I think it's worth checking out. And if you're interested, it's on Funimation here in the US, and it's also streaming on Anime Lab, Anna Plus, Prime Video, and Wakanim, depending on where you live. So yeah, definitely give it a watch.
In a dystopian future where, after a lost war, Kansai became a vassal state of Kanto, multiple highly skilled criminals called Akudama are sent a message from an anonymous client to free a death row prisoner named Cutthroat before he is executed. Four Akudama respond to the challenge and descend into Kansai police headquarters to earn a big payday. However, once inside, they discover the job was part of a larger scheme by their client to make them work together on a bigger job: to infiltrate the Shinkansen and steal precious cargo from a vault at the front of the train. Thrown into this wild tornado of violence and explosions is an ordinary girl arrested due to a misunderstanding. To survive this hellish fate thrust upon her, she must take on the role of a swindler and try to fit into this group of deadly outlaws, all while keeping ahead of the executioners from the Kansai police on their tail. Akudama Drive is an original anime that ran for 12 episodes and was produced by Studio Pierrot, a very seasoned production house who is responsible for little shows like Naruto, Bleach, Tokyo Ghoul, Black Clover, Yu Yu Hakusho, and many, many more.
Never heard of any of those.
Yeah, it's what even are those? Like, did they even run for 12 episodes?
Nah. I hear Bleach got canceled. That's too bad.
It's coming back, baby. It really does. And adapting stuff from a manga nobody likes. Like, did anyone like that last story arc in Bleach? I don't remember. I don't think so. I like Burn the Witch though, and that seems to be a Bleach spin-off. So yeah, we'll see. The director of Akudama Drive is Tomohisa Taguchi, who also directed Twin Star Exorcist, which is a show I think I brought up in the sneak peek once.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning it at one point. I think we both watched the first few episodes and we were like,
Yeah, it was a mixed bag. And very standard in certain parts. He also did direct the Kino's Journey remake, which you were not really hot on, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And a couple of Persona movies, which I haven't watched. But yeah, this show seems to be the love child of him and one Kazutaka Kodaka, who you gamers out there might know as the creator of the Danganronpa series.
Yes!
And apparently Taguchi was so impressed by Kodaka's work on Danganronpa that he wanted to create a new project with him. So Kodaka created the original scenario for this show. Taguchi was in the director's chair, and quoting directly from Wikipedia, both were fans of Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and The Usual Suspects. And their fascination with these films went into their desire to make a story set in a cyberpunk world with a Quentin Tarantino-inspired plot. And boy, does that show. Want to tell us why, John?
Looking at the episode titles, every single one is a different movie. Many of them are Tarantino films.
Mm-hmm. And that's only one of the things. Like, we usually don't directly quote from Wikipedia except for the episode summaries, but it feels like this has been summarized very well there. Due to the cast being composed of 7 protagonists, the team originally meant to call it Akudama 7. The appeal of Reservoir Dogs led to the team to develop a unique cast with different features, all being referred by pseudonyms rather than personal names. We'll get to those. Kaiho commented that the cast is meant to be rebellious in contrast to a similar series where the cast relies on each other. Other influences include Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, obviously, and Mamoru Oshii's film Ghost in the Shell, also very obviously. And Taguchi wanted to entertain a Western audience besides the Japanese, which is why the anime takes place in Kansai, as Taguchi believed the Kansai city of Osaka felt more Japanese to overseas tourists than Tokyo. I have been to neither. The artistic direction was hence based on the Osaka streetscape from the 1960s and 1970s. All very interesting. All can be witnessed and realized while watching the show itself. The movie references themselves get pretty hefty, in my opinion. Not only in the episodes titles that John just mentions. There are those, of course. But there are also shared themes and almost beat-by-beat recreations of scenes from the movies in question. For example, there's an episode called The Shining later on, and we get a bloody elevator, creepy hallways, a mysterious aura that only one person can see, someone busting through a wooden door with their grinning face.
Yep.
The homages are aplenty and fun. So if you are a movie buff, if you like a certain kind of movie genre, you will definitely enjoy a lot of the little things and nods that are in the show. Also, the character designs, the high contrast neon colors, comic booky scene transitions, and bizarre shark and bunny mascot characters from a propaganda children's TV show inside the actual show feel like they are very much influenced by the style on display in the Danganronpa series.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, Kodaka's handwriting is all over this in more ways than one. Did you you played the Danganronpa games, John? So did you feel like you recognized some things, some common ground in there?
Do you mean everything, not some things?
Yeah, okay, well...
I mean, I still haven't played V3, but yeah, from what I played of 1, 2, and Ultra Despair Girls, yeah, it's definitely... this is Kodaka's work. It comes through very plainly, and I think it's neat seeing him take that and applying it in a different direction, a different story that... I mean... It's like a half a step away from becoming another Danganronpa, but it's unique enough to be like, yeah, this is its own thing. It's, got its own texture and flavor. So
Absolutely, yes. And I mean, you also watch the anime series that continue or wrap up a certain part of the Danganronpa story.
Yeah.
Is there any close relationship to this that you, in terms of, I don't know, did Kodaka direct those himself? I don't remember. You reviewed those, but I forgot.
He didn't direct them, but I think he supervised and helped do some scenario writing on them, because both of those were directed by Daisuke Fukuoka, who's done some other stuff like Yuki Yuna is a Hero, which that is an equally dark story. So
yeah, but the dark overtones and everything really come through very well in Akudama Drive as well, among other things. I still want to play or at least watch someone play Danganronpa, because I'm not so much into visual novels, and that's kind of what that is to me. But the story always looked interesting to me from what I saw from it, and I saw part of the first game that looked really cool. So, yeah. All right. The animation in Akudama Drive is also pretty damn great. I mostly know Pierrot from long-term shonen, so when I think of their animation output, it's like 10 episodes of mediocre to bad animation quality, and then one episode where the Sakuga explodes off the fucking screen, and then the cycle repeats. So seeing them deliver such a consistent high quality level of animation was a nice surprise.
Yeah, this show was nuts on the production.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, the colors are vivid and bright, the neon lit streets are cool and ooze the nice cyberpunk atmosphere you would want from such a show. The character designs are sharp and distinctive. The fights mostly look really damn awesome and are directed and staged super well. There's some stilted animation here and there, but it's barely noticeable with everything that is happening on the screen. Also, I love the banter between the characters in the fights. It was really well done, in my opinion. But yeah, the action animation direction was done by Yoshihiro Kano, who also was responsible for the action animation in some episodes of Hunter x Hunter, the remake, and SAO Alicization. Both shows have top-notch action scenes, so that explains a lot. One of the standout fights that got stuck in my head in Akudama Drive is set in a hotel room that turns blue during the course of the fight, and then some hologram stuff emerges from the ground. It's extremely cool looking shit. I don't know, what was one of your favorites animation-wise?
Man, there's a lot of good shit.
We have one of the fights in the category for best fight scenes of the Anime Awards. And that is definitely... That's all right that it's in there, without a doubt.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, that's a really great fight, that one. And I mean, I don't know. It's just it was really hard for me to think about and pick one that I really think stood out the most, because every one of the fights in this show is a fucking feast, dude.
I feel all of them are pretty damn fun. I think my favorites are the one in the hotel and in the train. They're really great. And, the finale is also fucking crazy in terms of what is happening. Yeah, in general, I thought the animation was great, and I thought the fight choreography was fucking nuts in parts. So the soundtrack also rocks, literally. Composed by Maiko Iuchi, who also did the music for the Raildex franchise. So, John, you should be very familiar with her work.
Oh yeah, her work is awesome. She's done a whole bunch of other good stuff too, like a show that nobody really talks about, Dog Days. It was this side show that Seven Arcs produced kind of in their spare time, but that show also has some great music and some unsuspectingly great animation as well for a show that's definitely not a main project or work for them. But yeah, one of the other musicians was Shigekazu Aida, who doesn't really have much credit to their name, but also some great work there. So
yeah, definitely, I loved the soundtrack a lot. I thought it was doing a lot to enhance any specific scene, and especially in the fights, just amazing. So yeah, story-wise, this got, just like we said, it's heavily inspired by a lot of Tarantino movies, and this kind of things. You have it's a very ensemble cast in a way where you have a bunch of different colorful characters, in this case all criminals to some extent, with different backgrounds, with nicknames. Like you have Courier, who is has this cool Spider-Man or Bionic Commando type motorcycle that shoots out these grappling hooks that he basically can jump from building to building with. And then you have Brawler, who is, a brawler. He's just a super strong guy who can punch pretty much everything, and is ridiculously powerful. You have obviously a hacker guy who has a bunch of techno gizmos and can hack into anything and control machines. Doctor, who is a weird lady who likes to cut up people, and also apparently can recover herself from pretty much any injury. She gets literally cut in half in the scene, and later she's fine because she sewed herself back together. It's okay, sure, why not? It's crazy, but there's a lot more to her than meets the eye initially. Then we have Cutthroat, who is the guy they are freeing, who's basically the final component of the team, that their contractor, that the guy who basically set up the whole thing, who talks to them through the voice of a robotic cat in the beginning. It's just called Kuro, I think. And who has set up, and Cutthroat is the guy they're trying to free. He is about to be executed, and then they break into the police station and free him. And he is your basic serial killer with knives, throwing anything, killing anything in his way, and he is an impulsive child, I want to say, that in more ways than one. He has to press anything that is red, and we later learn why he is so obsessed with that, and it's very unsettling, to say the least. And I mean, you could guess from his setup and everything, but it gets really, really dark and really, really bad. And then we got the less, let's say, competent and or threatening characters of the bunch. The first one being Hoodlum, who is the small-time criminal who seems to have only maybe robbed the bank or something, if at all, or has done some con jobs and stuff like that.
He wants so bad to be a Yakuza tough, and he's just not.
Yeah, he got his pompadour shit, his Yankee haircut and everything, but yeah. And the last one being the unlucky normal girl, Swindler, who meets Courier in the beginning and sees that he accidentally dropped money and wants to give it back to him, and he doesn't want to take it. And then she thinks that it would be bad to pay with that money for her. What does she order? She's some street food.
Takoyaki, I think.
Takoyaki, right. And then she gets arrested for stealing or something, or for wanting to swindle a woman out of her money or whatever. It's a giant misunderstanding, but which is also important, to the themes of this show and the story. Giant misunderstanding, and she's immediately treated like a criminal. So who are the real criminals in this show? And then gets basically thrown into jail, and nobody. The robots won't listen to her or whatever, who take on the cases or whatever. And then she gets roped into all this shit when the Akudama attack the police station. So now she has to find a way to survive all of this crap. And yeah, she just pretends to be one of the super criminals called Swindler, who lied her way. She's so good, she pretends to be so good at attacking that there is no bounty on her head because she got everyone fooled and everything. She's like the perfect swindler. And for some reason, the guys believe her, which is a bit of a stretch. She's not that good of a liar, just in general. And it's really weird that they're so willing to believe her and not seeing her for what she is. Just, a girl who got accidentally roped into all of this. And I think Hoodlum might figure her out because he's kind of the same type. He also is lying a lot and pretending to be stronger than Brawler and everything. And Brawler's the super idiot who believes him. But, it's like, why does nobody get that this girl actually can't do anything? At least in the beginning. Because she gets really feisty and she's quite intelligent and actually figures out a bunch of stuff about certain situations. And helps the team actually to get along and everything. She actually becomes, that's the whole story, a swindler in more ways than one, and actually adapts her persona, and later becomes that character. It's really cool. She's probably one, if not the most interesting character about the show. She's the main protagonist for all intents and purposes. And yeah, seeing her journey is pretty enticing and engaging. I also like, just in terms of style and animation, the comic booky introduction screens for every character. It's like these cover pages or splash pages, right straight from an American comic book that they get not only for our protagonists, but for some of the antagonists as well. And they do something with that at the end of the show for one of the characters where it's like, this is finally we see that as well. And it's really cool. And they did the same thing in Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales, and it is just as effective here as it was there. So I like that a lot. I think that was really cool and well done design choice. And yeah, in general, just the comic booky aesthetic of this and the cool comic booky scenes transitions in the show are really damn cool. And like I said, Swindler is the main character. The other characters are fun in their own right. Kuria is very stoic and very, let's say, antisocial. He's kind of an asshole, but they develop this neat relationship between him and Swindler, and also later something that has to do with the actual cargo in the train. They later have to rob and everything and transport. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with him as well, and we learn some background to him as well. Yeah, it's cool. And what I also really liked was the bromance between Hoodlum and Brawler.
It's so good.
It's a bit, suspense of disbelief that really nobody gets what Hoodlum is doing.
Yeah.
But I can believe it for Brawler because Brawler really is a giant idiot. Like, he is complete meathead. Like, he is super stupid. But, like I said, their bromance is really sweet, even if it's based on a lie. And has also a good resolution to that and an understandable one. Like, all of that felt very satisfying and earned, what that leads to. So, yeah, I liked it a lot. We also have some kind of prominent antagonists, and those are the people from the Executioners Bureau of the police department, who are like these people fighting with lightsabers and basically are after the Akudama to just kill them. They're even not supposed to bring them in, right? It's just like, definitely kill them. Or I don't remember if that is their initial goal or if they're just supposed to subdue them or whatever, but yeah, whenever they clash with our gang, that's when the cool shit happens. That's when the coolest fight happens, and it gets really crazy. And in the beginning, we have like these two prominent ones. There's always like one master and one apprentice, which is very Star Wars and probably a reference to that. And to chain the masters to life by making them care for their pupil. That way they aren't too intent of dying in the line of duty. So that's the whole setup for that thing. And that gets elaborated on later on. But yeah, so we basically have the master and the student in the beginning, and there's several of those, but we get like this two pair of one dude and one girl that stays pretty much, or at least in some way stays relevant throughout the course of the series. And yeah, every fight between the gang and the executioners is ridiculous fun. Scratch that, all the action scenes in general are really, they are so fast-paced, well-staged and edited. There's so much cool choreography and so many new twists and turns. The soundtrack is just pounding away. It's a blast to watch. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, can't really go into much more details about the characters without also going into the details of the plot. And there are a lot of twists and turns happening there, and I don't want to give them away, so can't really elaborate too much on that. Like, there's some things that I didn't like. There's some plot point where Swindler suddenly kind of forgets that she might be considered an Akudama now that she has spent some time with that gang, and that leads to some shit for her. It's kind of the tail end of the show, and that's a bit dumb. Like, she could have been a bit more careful. She's more intelligent than that. So I felt like that was forced.
Yeah.
I don't know how you felt about that scene, John.
Yeah, I mean, I get that it was sort of a, well, what if this instead? But it's sort of like, yeah, but what if you just stuck with what you were telling us to begin with?
Yeah, it was a bit weird. So, but yeah, aside from that, it was just a small dent in the armor. I would have liked to get a bit more background info on some of the characters. We only get a bit on Swindler and some other characters who are introduced later, and Courier, like I said, and some of the antagonists. You know, since some of the characters that I haven't talked about and Swindler are kind of our main characters, it makes sense. But still, I would have liked to know more about the others. You know, we don't really learn anything about Brawler. We don't really learn anything about Hoodlum. We don't really learn anything about Hacker. And that's kind of like, hey, I would have, you know, these are cool characters. I would like to learn more about them. Yeah, it's just like, okay, yeah, this is a short show. You have to concentrate on some characters. You can't, you know, address all of them, or you don't have enough time to tell the plot. And the plot is cool in itself. So, yeah, I get why they did what they did. It's just like, hey, I like these characters. I would have liked to know more. How did you feel about it, John?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if the idea was, we don't want you to know too much about certain characters because they are criminals. Also
archetypes in a way. And also, again, it relates to, I guess, to some of the Tarantino movies they were referencing earlier in the Wikipedia article. I mean, like, you don't learn anything about some of the characters in Reservoir Dogs. So
maybe that's what they were calling back. I know it's hard to say, but I get where you're coming from, where some of the characters you'd want to know a little bit more about, but artistic quote unquote decision, I guess.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's not like this is a giant, oh no, why didn't you tell me more about that and that character? It's just like, hey, it would have been cool, but also it's not a problem that it's not in there, really, because the characters that we learn something about are strong enough, and the characters we don't learn anything about really are strong enough just by being there. And so it's fun. Regarding the plot, the setup, like I said, is pretty simple. The Akudama get pretty much a giant money contract with, like, get messages like, hey, free this guy from the police station, which turns out to be Cutthroat. And then once they get there, they get these collars, which makes them that around their necks that explode if they don't do what their contractor says, which makes them an actual Suicide Squad. That's basically that. So one of the episode's titles not being that was kind of weird to me. Like, that should have been the title of the second episode, should have been Suicide Squad, or the first one even. John and I always were waiting for, it's going to be the next episode, or the next episode, or the last episode is going to be, the title of the episode is going to be Suicide Squad. And it never did do that. So I was like, that was the first reference. I was like, yeah, that's obviously referencing that. And we never did that.
Missed opportunity.
So, yeah, really missed opportunity. Super weird. I don't know. But yeah, so they get these collars and are told, hey, now you'll get more money, but you have to actually do what I tell you to, or you will, your heads will explode. So they reluctantly agree. And that the new job, basically after freeing Cutthroat, is robbing the Shinkansen, which is in this world this weird object of worship. Like, there was this war between Kansai and Kanto. Like I said in the summary, Kansai lost, got a new bomb dropped on them, and were rebuilt by Kanto, who have used propaganda to become saviors. But actually, they just want everyone in Kansai to be their workforce and do their bidding / worship them, it seems like, in the beginning. And there's also some deeper motives there, but you get the idea. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say there might be a bit of criticism against the United States in here, but hey, maybe I'm imagining it, but also considering what is happening at the end of the show, maybe not, because it feels very much in the zeitgeist. Then again, the themes on display throughout the course, and especially the end of the show, are very inherent to the cyberpunk genre, I guess. So I'm not sure about it, really. Something the cops do at the end has some real 2020 energy, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Ooh, I almost forgot entirely about that. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, I think your direct quote was, well, that show definitely gave more meaning to the term "fuck the cops."
Oh yeah, that's right. I called it ACAB Dama Drive.
Okay.
Or depending on how you say it, because some people say it differently, Akudama Drive.
All right. Well, yeah, that's definitely in there. So this is that's why it's so difficult to rob that train. And there's a lot more connected to that, and especially to the cargo they are supposed to get from that train. But, and, you know, there's a deeper mystery behind it, but actually going into it would be huge spoilers, so can't really talk about it. But it's very interesting, and there's some really cool shit happening with that by the end of the show, and some really dark shit. Some really dark shit related, especially to that cargo. Holy fuck. Woof. Okay. And to Kanto in general, and what their motives are and all that shit. It's a wild ride. Also, you know, talking about the propaganda thing, and I mentioned them before, we get filled in on important facts, and world building is also done by these stick figures from a propaganda's children's program. That's what I meant when I said that's also one of the things that feel very Danganronpa with, you know, related to Monokuma and everything. And yeah, it's like these shark and bunny stick figures, and they're also like, hey, Kanto is like, oh, Kanto, they're the best, and Kansai is like this lawless country, and fuck them, and fuck the Akudama.
I mean,
but I don't. Yeah.
It seemed like Shark and Bunny kind of had a little bit of a turn later on, though.
Sure, they have a turn in a way, but that is also kind of forced by someone else. So it's really it's cool. It's like a cool, neat. It's a neat aesthetic and artistic choice to put it in there, because it doesn't necessarily clash with the style of the rest of the show, but it's always kind of this weird disconnect where it's like, you know, you have this straightforward action show, and suddenly there's this weird children's TV educational program thing that fills you in on the details of this world. And it's like, okay, sure, do that. It's in the beginning you don't really know how to feel about it, but it's super weird. At some point they wear shirts. One says Hedo and the other one says Nism, I think. So hedonism, I guess.
Yeah.
That of course also relates to the themes of the show, but it's it's really weird, but it's also really cool. Also, apparently the moon has been destroyed by the war. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, is it kind of I don't know if it's a spoiler to say or not, that the show goes out of its way to say, hey, there's no good guys. Do you think that's a spoiler to say?
No, not really.
Okay.
That's also a theme on some of the Tarantino movies, I guess. But yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's very gray.
Yeah, the show is very like, hey, maybe not everyone's as good as you thought. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, and also not everyone you thought was bad is really bad, and that twists and turns again and again. And, you know, it's, yeah, there's not really a clear line there. But it's really interesting what choices certain characters make in this show, and what that leads to and everything. And yeah, the backgrounds on some of that we learn. And yeah, it's cool. So I liked it a lot. Something I didn't like about the show is the censorship, because it's really bad.
Oh, yeah.
Especially Cutthroat is doing some wild shit later on that you barely see anything of, because there are giant black bars everywhere, or, you know, darkened parts of the screen and everything, so you don't see the cut off limbs or the blood fountains or everything.
I think that's a Japanese broadcast thing, though.
Absolutely. Yes, I know. So all I'm saying is, if you want to watch it, it's not only in the Japanese broadcasting, it's also on... I watched the show on Amazon Prime, and it's still in there.
It's definitely on Funimation as well.
Yeah, there you go. So maybe wait for the Blu-rays for this one, because it really bugged me after a while. It was like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. Like, if you make such a violent show, maybe show it at a time where it can actually show more of this stuff, because I have no idea what's going on right now. There's just like bars everywhere.
I don't know if there's a time slot where you can do that, though. I think it's just a Japanese broadcast rule where you can't show any like dismemberment or beheading or anything like that. I mean, which, okay, fine, but I don't think it falls under the equally stupid angle of we can't show Jotaro smoking.
Yeah, that was weird. That felt more like an American thing to do. I don't know. Japan doesn't really have a problem. I feel like Sanji constantly smokes in One Piece, and that's a kids show. So I don't know. I think it's very dependent on where the show is actually being broadcasted and what time slot for some reason, or in what context. I don't know. It's weird. And who does it? Because Berserk is a super violent show, and if I remember correctly, that new shitty adaptation wasn't censored really. Well, there was some parts in there that were censored, yeah, definitely. But you know, the usual guts cuts of people's heads and shit like that, I think wasn't. So I don't know. Some parts it seems to be very dependent on where it's running, and if there's a separate broadcast versions from the streaming version, and where that shit is streaming. So it's weird. It feels like there's not really a clear through line here. But yeah, if right now you can only get Akudama apparently in the heavily edited version, so maybe wait for the Blu-ray version on that if you want to experience it in its full violent, gory glory. And don't get me wrong, the show was super entertaining and fun despite that, but it's probably even more fun without those that censorship in there. If you're not squeamish or faint of heart or something like that, or easily turned off by super violent scenes, because there are a lot on there. A couple of things I liked about the show, you know, besides everything, is at some point there's like this bento box introduced and that can create almost any food out of thin air.
Yeah.
Can I have that, please?
Yeah, come on.
That would be my dream. I would give up so many things to actually have that, like a portable, whatever that thing is called in Star Trek, where you actually can create any food that you like. It looked amazing.
Yeah.
It was like this. It didn't even look like cheap food. It looked super delicious.
Just imagine what food you want and biggity bop.
There it is. Yeah. I loved it. It's great. That's the thing I think both of us really like is they changed the OP to account for a change in later episodes, which is always cool when you see that kind of attention to detail.
Yeah, there's been a couple shows lately that have done that where they've made small changes to the opening sequence because of things in the show, and it's like I eat that shit up, man. I love that. The most recent one that did it was Yuru Camp, where every episode, Reen is looking at different photos on her phones, and I didn't realize it until 8 episodes in, and I was like, shit, have they been doing this the whole goddamn time? And yeah, they had.
Another reason to not skip OP is on this one, on JoJo's, on, Eurocamp apparently. And yeah, it definitely, if you watch the show, be on the lookout for that little change. I think it's fun when they do that.
Jujutsu Kaisen did it as well in the first OP.
Back Arrow is also doing it, where they're keeping some characters in the shadows and revealing them bit by bit when they are introduced in the actual show. So yeah, that's cool stuff. It's just fun to actually do stuff like that, incorporate stuff from the actual show into the OP and change it. I think that's always a fun creative choice.
I mean, one of my favorites of all time is, and it's a fucking pull, is a Scride, where there's changes every episode. They sing different parts of the song every episode. It's like, Jesus.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that anymore. I always wanted to go back and watch Scride again. I probably hate it
now that
because
it's
of
on
certain
Blu-ray.
characters. It is, actually. That's true.
I should fucking buy it because...
Yeah, it's one of those shows that's like, yeah, that's super up my... And I remember really liking the finale of that show. Like the final fight was one of the most epic things I've ever seen. Like these 3 stages where the main characters fight in their 3 different versions of armored and not armored. Yeah, it's... and it was one of the first anime I watched ever. Still when... Downloading my shows on WinMX.
Oh my god.
Do you remember that shit?
A little bit.
There you go. That was even before eDonkey. Back when, you didn't... Kids, can you believe it? Back when you weren't able to get your hands on the newest cool anime by legal means, just by subscribing to services like Crunchyroll or Wakanim or Funimation.
Anime. God, I know we've talked about this before. Anime is great, and the fact that it's mainstream now is great too, because that means a lot more shows get licensed a lot more quickly and easily, and you can watch it at the same time that it airs in Japan. And you don't have to You don't have to fucking hunt around for the stuff that's airing. There's 5 different groups subbing it. Which one do you go with? Which one is the best quality? So you have to download the same thing 5 times and be like, okay, I guess I'll watch this one. But they work at different paces. So when am I going to get to actually watch my show? Fucking, oh, it's so good. It's so good that we live in a world of fucking convenience now.
Yeah, and every time someone like Netflix comes around and reminds us of the old days, where it's like, wait, what do you mean I can't get it now? It's like we get super mad at it because we are so used to this convenience now.
Yeah, I totally want to subscribe to Netflix and a VPN so I can watch Beast. Man, fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah. But luckily, there are just pretty much the only streaming service that does this shit. Really, and they don't get that many shows. They always get their hand on a show that I definitely want to watch, so they get me mad several times. But aside from that, it's the most stuff over here goes to Wackenham at the moment. And also, I'm miffed about that because they don't give me English subs, and I'm so used to watching shows with English subs right now. Yeah, they only have German ones, and I can watch. German is my native language, but I can watch stuff with German subs rather than German dubs. Oh God, but it's still weird because I'm so used to watching anime with a Japanese dub and English subtitles, because that's how when I really started watching anime, like, online and downloading the fan subs in English and stuff like that. Back when fan subs still were bad and not just rips of the actual subs from stuff like Crunchyroll and shit. But so I'm so used to this by now, and the phrasing, the way this language works in conjunction with this medium and everything. So suddenly reading stuff in German feels super weird sometimes, and the phrasing they use there and the translation they use there, and it's so like, this feels really weird, and this sounds more silly than it should be, and it doesn't sound as cool as it does in English. So it's really weird. But still, I'm very happy that we are getting so much stuff at all over here, just in general, the day it comes out in Japan. So yeah, that is like complaining about that, like we complain about Netflix. Again, first world problems, obviously, but you can always do better. So we will keep complaining about it, probably. Yeah. Until Netflix changes their fucking song. Anyway, yeah, I don't think... Yeah, there's still a small bit that I really liked about Akudama Drive, to get back to the actual topic at hand. Hacker comments on the final big reveal of the show, or one of the final big reveals of the show, being an overused sci-fi trope. That made me chuckle. Yeah. Because it really is. And the show is nothing if not self-aware. I like when they do. It's like, yeah, we know this is a thing, but we're going to do it because we're referencing said thing. And so I guess it's fine. And also it's done really well. So yeah, I liked it a lot. And I like that they poked fun at it a bit. It's good. The show feels, despite it being mostly an action show, it feels it has an intelligence to it, and is having some fun with all the stuff that it's doing in terms of references to movies and all that shit. And, cyberpunk as a genre. Yeah, and considering, thinking about how it wrapped up, the final episode feels like tragic, bittersweet in a way, but satisfying. So I liked how all of it came together in the end and how it wrapped up. I don't know if all people will feel like that, depending on what they expect from this show. But I think the signs where this is going are pretty clear from the get-go. So I don't know if you should be too surprised about how this all the shit wraps up by the end. So yeah, I liked it a lot. I think this was a cool little show. Cool comic booky cyberpunk aesthetic, fun characters, wild action and fight choreography, some neat twists and turns, a couple of substantial themes tackled. It's pretty much a thrill ride from beginning to end. It wraps up, like I said, on a bittersweet note, which I would expect from something in this genre, but I enjoyed this little neon series a lot, and I think John did as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Another show went into not knowing exactly what to expect, and I think we got something pretty damn good out of it.
Absolutely. If you want to check it out, it's on a bunch of services in the US, I think. John, I'm not sure. It's on Amazon Prime Video in Germany, like I said, but I saw a bunch of familiar icons on the live chart thing.
Yeah, it's on Prime Video, Apple TV, apparently, Funimation, and Hulu here in the US of A.
Yeah. And I think if you like action, cyberpunk, cool designs, movie references, or movies of a certain ilk in general, you will like this a lot, as did John and I. And yeah, remember, picking up drop money is bad luck, but it also has the power to change lives. And that is a wrap on the 108th episode of Anime Brain Freeze. All the music in our show is from the Double Dragon Neon soundtrack by the amazing Jake Kaufman. Please go to vrt.bandcamp.com and check out his awesome work. Our show is available on most of the popular podcast services, but it's always worth visiting animebrainfreeze.com for a review index and more. Leave us comments and questions on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at AnyBrainFreeze, or send an email to animebrainfreeze@gmail.com. We would love to read your feedback. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you had a good time, and please join us again on our next episode. Macht's gut.
So long, everybody. Next time on Anime Brain Freeze.
New friends and foes deliver the fireworks.
As the flames of truth burn away the lies.